Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. Before we go any further, if anyone that can, please that and join us with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will now call the meeting to order. Please silence your cell phones if you've not already, and we'll address the consent agenda. For those of you who do not have a copy of the agenda or who are attending for the first time, we will concern ourselves with the cases that are on consent. These cases have been reviewed by the board and by the professionals from various departments in the county, and to which there's no known objection at this time. We have discussed these in our work session. Certain staff comments and stipulations have been made, and we do not anticipate any further discussion that's needed for a decision. So as we go forward, our County Zoning Division Manager, Mr. Peterson, will read each case into the record. Mr. Peterson will ask that you raise your hand as your case is called to signify you are present. If you are here in opposition to a case that is currently on consent, Mr. Peterson will ask you to identify yourself as that case is read into the record. We will then pull that case off of consent and hear it as part of our regular case agenda. We will then vote on all of the cases that are still on consent at one time. Once we have approved the cases on consent, we will move to our regular case agenda. With that, Mr. Peterson, it's all yours.
Okay. There's one case on today's agenda which has been withdrawn without prejudice. In this case, will not be heard today. That's variance case V47 of 2025, Heng Chang Zhang. That case has been withdrawn and will not be heard today. Madam Chair and Board, we did get a request late last week to continue variance case V38 of 2025, John Ellis. He's not able to be here today, and staff would ask the board to continue variance case V38 until your next hearing.
So, we need to make an amendment to approve the movement of that case. I got a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Please place your vote.
Second.
Okay, that is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, I'm ready to start the consent agenda. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for April 9th, 2025. First case on consent is variance case V37, Jill Terry and Darlene Terry. Request a variance to number 1, allow an accessory structure, which is shed number 1, which is approximately 280 square feet, to be to the side of the principal building, proposed lot or proposed tract 1, in land lot 1175 of the 16th district. The property is located on the west side of Holt Road, west of Club Valley Drive. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case of V37? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V39, Dennis K. Throop, request a variance to number 1, reduce the side setback from required 10 feet to 2 feet adjacent to the northern property line. Number 2, reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure, which is an approximately 276 square foot detached garage, required 10 feet to 2 feet adjacent to the northern property line and 35 feet to 9 feet adjacent to the eastern property line in land lot 18 of the 19th district. The property is located on the east side of Nottingham Way, south of Cambridge Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case of V39? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V41, Donald T. Carlisle requests a variance to number 1, reduce the rear setback from required 35 feet to 5 feet. Number 2, reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 120 square foot shed from required 5 feet to 2 feet adjacent to the southern property line in Land Lot 7 of the 16th District. The property is located on the south side of Charter Oaks Court, west of Shallow Ridge Road. Staff recommends approval. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V41? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V42, Edward Walker and Erin Walker request a variance to reduce the rear setback from required 30 feet to 23 feet in Land Lot 19 of the 16th District. The property is located on the northeast corner of McCaw Court and Falcon Woods Drive. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V42? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V43, Outback Deck, Inc., request a variance to reduce the rear setbacks from required 27.6 feet per variance 109 of 1993 to 12 feet in Land Lot 66 of the 1st District. The property is located on the south side of Taylor's Court, west of Little Willio Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V43? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V44, Manish Puri requests a variance to, 1, increase the maximum allowable impervious coverage from 40% per variance case V163 of 2015 to 63.2%. 2, allow an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 560 square foot pergola to the side of the principal building. And number 3, reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 560 square foot pergola from required 25 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the southeastern property line in Land Lot 958 of the 16th District. The property is located on the northwest corner of Monty Drive and Sill Mill Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, stormwater management comments. And number 2, applicant to meet with stormwater management within 60 days to have a mitigation plan approved, and the applicant to have that work inspected and verified that it is complete within 120 days. If this work is not complete within 120 days, then this variance approval shall be revoked. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V44? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V45, Barbara Ann Huey Williams requests a variance to, 1, increase the maximum height of a fence located on the side of the principal building from required 6 feet to 8 feet. 2, reduce the setback for an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 56 square foot detached shed from required 5 feet to 0 feet adjacent to the eastern property line in Land Lot 1168 of the 16th District. The property is located on the north side of Varner Road, east of Sourwood Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following condition. Approved as shown on the exhibit received February 13th, 2025, contained in the variance analysis. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V45? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V46, Carlos Ramirez requests a variance to, 1, allow an accessory structure to be closer to the side street right-of-way line than the principal building, and 2, reduce the setback for an accessory structure for an approximately 605 square foot detached garage from required 45 feet to 44 feet adjacent to the southern property line in Land Lot 1092 and 1093 of the 17th District. The property is located at the northwest corner of Atlantic Country Club Drive and Burning Tree Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the garage not to be used for dwelling or commercial uses. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V46? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V48, Matthew Whitley and Kelly Whitley request a variance to reduce the side setback from required 7.5 feet to 5 feet adjacent to the northwest property line in Land Lot 102 of the 1st District. The property is located on the north side of Chartley Way and southeast of Chartley Lane, south of Chartley Circle. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed? The variance case is V48. Okay, let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V50, Thomas Dees requests a variance to reduce rear setback from required 20 feet to 16 feet in land lot 237 of the 20th district. The property is located on the east side of Wayhouse Place, south of Paul Samuel Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V50? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V51, Kevin Kreider requests a variance to reduce the side setback from required 10 feet to 5 feet adjacent to the northeastern property line. Number 2, reduce the setback for an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 280 square foot shed required 35 feet to 1 foot adjacent to the northwest property line in land lot 264 and 269 of the 20th district. The property is located on the west side of Brown Store Road, north of Carter Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V51? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V52, Glaze Express Car Wash, Inc. requests a variance to, number 1, increase the maximum height of a sign allowed from 19 feet to 19.6 feet. And number 2, increase the maximum allowable sign area per sign from required 49 square feet to 78.2 square feet in land lot 55 of the 20th district. The property is located at the southwest corner of Wade Green Road and George Busby Parkway. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, traffic comments. Number 2, fire department comments. Number 3, sewer comments. And number 4, zoning manager to approve the final location of the sign. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V52? Let the record show there's no one opposed. And finally, variance case V53, Claudia M. Bryce request a variance to 1, increase the maximum allowable impervious coverage from 35% to 42.6%. Number 2, reduce the front, reduce the front setback for a detached shed from required 10 feet to 6 feet adjacent to the western property line. Number 3, reduce the setback for an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 432 square foot pavilion from required 10 feet to 6 feet adjacent to the western property line. And number 4, reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure, which is an existing approximately 2,208 square foot detached garage required 100 feet to 1 foot adjacent to the eastern property line, 3 feet adjacent to the northern property line, and 78 feet adjacent to the eastern property line in land lot 705 of the 19th district. The property is located on the northwest corner of Amelia Drive and Lyle Lane. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, detached garage not to be used for dwelling or commercial uses. And number 2, stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V53? Let the record show there's no one opposed. And that completes the consent agenda, Madam Chair and Board.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. So now it's back to us for any comments and questions. Do we
Yes.
have any?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have one. For stormwater, can you just, you had voiced some concerns regarding V44. Are you satisfied with the comments we've heard, or is this a case we need to hear?
Hello, Andrew Heath, Cobb County Stormwater Management. Yes, there was some, because there have been various projects down at the site, there was a little bit of confusion as to if there had been a stormwater management system installed there at the site. But as best as we can tell, there has been, and I've done some kind of rough calculations on that. And it looks like that they're requesting, I believe it's 62 some odd %, I think, impervious coverage now. And that system, as best I can tell, it provides actually a little bit more volume than we would have requested had they done that. So I think we're good to go by chance with that.
But the stipulation that was read in was stormwater management comments, including they have to come up with a mitigation plan satisfactory to you folks within 60 days, is my understanding. Is it any concerns that does that adequately address the situation?
Yes, and actually now, I guess, with our, I mean, for what we've covered, we can definitely do that.
Okay.
And I think that I guess the gist of it is, I think they've already provided sort of what we would have otherwise requested. So I think they're good to go. So.
All right, thank you. So move to approve the consent agenda as read, including the deletion of of V39.
V38.
I'm sorry, V38.
He
Thank
took
you.
care of it. A second motion?
Can I have one question? I'm sorry. On V44, they were to come back or meet with a plan, but now that everything is settled, can we omit that?
No, I think it's still important to have those two conditions on the property.
So, but they've already mitigated it according to stormwater.
I'm not sure if they have or not.
He just verified that. So they still would have to meet with him?
Yeah, because we still need to have something for the file that shows there's a mitigation plan, plus he's approved it, plus it's been verified, it's been done.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, please vote. Consent agenda is passed. Thank you very much. If you were on consent, you are certainly welcome to go ahead and leave. Just do so quietly. Okay, let me have staff talk to you, because this is not the time for questions from the audience.
But she didn't raise her hand. No, I don't know why.
So it was on consent. I guess it's just their friend. Maybe he goes to church with them.
Okay. Are we ready, folks? John, we ready?
Ready. Okay, moving into the held and continued case. First case we're going to hear is variance case V28. Vicky Beham requests a variance to increase the maximum allowable
excuse-
coverage
yeah.
from 35% to 52% in land lot 666 of the 16th district. The property is located on the south side of Newton Road, west of Sandy Plains Road. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V28?
Nope.
Okay.
Is it-
Let the record show there's no one opposed.
Good to see you again, Mr. Rosen.
Afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair. That was my client, Ms. Beham, raising her hand. She's not in opposition. I think she was just making her presence known.
Do we have any?
Thank you.
Alice, are you ready? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
No, 100%.
Okay, just do the present, okay.
Ready for me?
Yep, ready for you.
Okay, thank you again. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Board. For the record, my name is Adam Rosen with Rosen, and Riley, here on behalf of Vicky Beham, who's the owner of the property, the subject of this application, 1702 Newton Road. This is a case that you've heard before, and you've also seen on your agenda a couple times. Thank you to you, the board, for allowing us additional time, and particularly Andrew Heath, who's worked closely with us and our land professionals to work on the stormwater mitigation related to the impervious request that is the reason for this application. I think it's still a work in progress, and we appreciate your consideration and the time that's already been put into it. This is our home here, the one that is outlined, and I've also identified with the X there, that is the location of the proposed in-ground pool that Ms. Beham is proposing to construct, and that has brought up the request for the impervious surface increase. This home is owned by Ms. Beham. She and her partner Liz, whose mother, who's 94, lives with them at the home. Similar to when it was constructed, for the purpose of having two driveways, one that enters in on the main level and one that enters on the basement level, for the purpose of being able to care for an elderly and needing of care parent. The prior owner constructed it for that purpose. Also coincidentally did so along with the neighbor behind him, the property just south of ours on the screen. You can see the similar design with the two driveways, one on each side, lower level entry, main level entry. So this was, as they say, a godsend that they found this house that accommodated their ability to care for their mother and Ms. Beham's mother-in-law. That's why the driveways are the way they are. That's why when we're talking about impervious and you see, well, there's two driveways, that's part of the problem. Well, that's part of the reason why this is a home that works for them and why that a removal of a driveway or other alternative is not a solution for them. So just to give you a little bit of that family and timeline history, going back to 2004, when the home was constructed and finished, prior to two owners prior to Ms. Beham's ownership. This is an aerial of 2005 after completion. You can see the home in its current condition, driveways in their current condition. We've requested, and I don't believe the county has record of CO or how it was permitted this way. We just know that it was a couple of owners prior to us, and it's the condition that we bought it in. So 2005, fast forwarding, just to show you that it stays in that same condition, no additional add of impervious. 2011, again, in 2012, this is when your applicant purchased the home, still in that same condition, and then a couple of different years later, 17, and then current. So that never changed, but of course, again, was constructed prior to your applicant's ownership. You can see some activity here. That was the start of the pool being installed. You did hear this case in '24 and approved the case with the condition to mitigate under the stormwater comments back to 35%. That's why we're back here today, because we went forward with the permit, went forward with stormwater mitigation, actually had a plan signed off on that I'll show you, but recognized the impracticability of them to be able to do that with disturbance to the land and the cost of the wells and different things that would require to mitigate back down all the way to 35%. This is the site plan that we filed. This shows the current conditions of the property, and this is to show a survey of the property. This is the actual mitigation plan that was previously submitted pursuant to the last case. So they did try to move forward with that case in order to mitigate, and this is what they would have been required to do at an extensive cost, close to $25,000, $30,000 that would have had to be incurred for installation of wells and other things to mitigate back to 35%. I threw in here the consent signatures. Of course, you have that in the application, and obviously no one here in opposition today. So this is a little bit different than, you have a lot of others on this agenda and often do that relate to impervious surface. And I know that is an issue that the county wants to address, and the impervious surface percentage is there, and that requirement is there for a reason, but this is a different circumstance where 2004, 2005, an owner builds, it's in that same condition in 2024. Ms. Beeham and her mother-in-law with a physical therapy prescription and aqua-related physical therapy prescription need, would like to put a pool at the property, and are taking on the burden of what was left to them from 35 to about 51%. The pool itself only adds 1% of impervious. You see on our plan showing 51 to 52. So we're asking that she be granted the variance to allow the impervious to be in its existing percentage, which is up to 52% as shown on the plan. We've even proposed that we would mitigate back to 51, where she can bring it back to the existing conditions that she purchased under, but the extremity of getting back to 35% has been the difficulty and the more practical result that we're working to resolve. Also note on this plan that was approved following the last case, this shows an impervious surface percentage of 47 and 48. So it may be just a little bit lower than the 51 that we've talked about, but either way, certainly a reduction from that number down to 35. So based on all of that, based on the need for the pool, the practical nature of that, taking over for a problem that existed many, many years and two owners before Ms. Beeham, the request is to grant the variance without the stormwater condition that was imposed before, or to allow that condition, but only down to the existing impervious surface percentage instead of all the way back to 35%. So that's what we have today. We thank you again for your time. I know this is one that has lived a longer life, and again, thank you to Andrew for working with us. I know they're still working with our engineers to come up with a solution, but it's become a much more difficult task than anticipated in the beginning. So, thank you.
Okay, this closes it. Do you want to say it's closed?
We'll now close the public hearing, and if there's any questions, Mr. Rosen, why don't you just stay there?
Okay.
Instead of playing bouncing.
Okay, so the original plan for mitigation was what?
From the original variance case, the original plan for mitigation, you mean as far as like what was proposed to be constructed and installed? There's a number of wells to be put or in different areas around the property. That's where she ran into the difficulty of what that would do, disturbance.
But now we have been able to consolidate to one hole, which has lessened the burden on her entire property, and you only got one bid. Why did you only get one bid?
Well,
This is too expensive. The amount you've quoted is too expensive for this 4-foot deep, 8-foot square dry well. If you were to bid it out several other bidders, I believe you would get great savings.
so a couple things. One, she's been working with the same pool company who started the project, and she's worked with them to come up with what the cost may be. Finding out other alternatives bid-wise is certainly an option.
It's a
That-
good one.
Right, sure, and we understand that. The 8x4 number is not what is currently expected to be required by her engineers. I know, because Andrew and I, we spoke about that as well, and that may be one thing for them to look at together again, but what her professionals are telling her is more along the lines of 30-plus feet. So, yes, they've been able to meet on site and come up with probably better than this, but that cost and what that would be like for her to construct, from what her folks are telling her, is still, that extreme level. So I'm not saying there's not something that could be worked on, but it's not as small as what we hope. I hope Andrew's right, but right now her professionals are telling her otherwise.
Andrew is an exceptional professional, and I will
Agreed.
go with what he says.
Agreed.
So with that in mind, you need to go back, get some more bids based on Andrew's number and see what you got so that we can get this moved forward. It's been dragging way too long. You did this variance last year with these stipulations in place, and now you've come back because you don't like them or they're too expensive. that's not the county's fault or problem. They want 35%, that's what the comment says, and that's what we need to get it down to.
Sure.
And you have ways in which to do that with this dry well.
And we understand cost is not the only consideration. That's why I give you the history of the property, the different ownership, the different circumstances. So,
But we're here now.
Sure, I
and
understand.
We've gone from 3 wells all over the property to a singular one to mitigate cost, mitigate interruption to the property and landscaping and all this other stuff. So we need to go forward with the idea that the county requires 35%. Andrew says 4 feet deep, 8 foot square. Let's go forward with
Sure.
that.
We hope that's the case. At this point, obviously, we've been on the calendar a couple times. What we were hearing from our folks was still the very extreme, so our concern was what we're facing with that and moving forward. So are you asking for us to take time to continue doing that before us
Well-
asking for a final decision today? Is that,
We'll give you 1 more month.
okay, sure. Is
It's
that-
been going on since
Can I-
November, I think.
Can I ask him a
Sure.
question? So, it's my understanding that this pool is being built, so then you would have to get, you had a pool permit to have it built.
Correct.
So, in the pool permit, I believe it said to provide mitigation. So, the pool is being built, you haven't provided mitigation, so basically you're kind of going against what, this contract that allowed you to get the permit for the pool to be built. And the pool, my understanding, is pretty much complete. So, for you to come back and say it's still too expensive, you have this permit that says you can build this pool to fit this setbacks and to mitigate. So now you've kind of broken that contract in order for you to get the permit that the pool's already been built. So at this point, in my opinion, to allow you to go and to figure out what the cost would be, Andrew Heath, who is an expert in all of this, met out there and felt that given the dimensions filled with gravel would mitigate all of your impervious surface on this property. So at this point, for you to come back to say it's still too expensive and what are we going to do, it's still this issue that you had a permit to build. She has started building the pool. It's almost complete, except for this one thing that would not have allowed you to have the permit if it didn't have that mitigation. So at this point, I just feel that I would like to make a recommendation that we deny this and that you go forward with completing the pool with this mitigation plan that was discussed with the people that met out there with Andrew, was discussed in what we discussed today, so that it's just going back and forth and back and forth. So that's just my.
Can I give you
my thing
some, because I
no,
think some of
that's just my.
the timing of that and the way that the construction started and some of that, I think has some explanation to it.
My whole thing is, you have built, the pool is almost built. And in order for you to get the permit, you had to have on the building permit that you would mitigate this impervious surface. You have not mitigated the impervious surface, but you have built the pool.
Well, but that's
So
why
now-
they've stopped the
so
construction.
now- So then you come back and you say it's too expensive, so then what's our option, to tell you to tear it out? So my opinion is that we deny this and that you go with the mitigation plan that Mr. Heath has proposed. The dimensions and everything, I think it was given to the contractor that was there that he met with. And we just don't have to keep wasting our time going back and forth. And you can find people to, shop around for who can dig a hole and put in gravel.
What
That's
one
my opinion, that's my
concern I would
opinion.
have would be
I'm not,
the
I just
denying
made
of
a
it.
statement. I just made a statement. I'm not asking for you to reply.
Okay, any of the other commissioners have comments,
Fred?
questions?
I'm truly frustrated about the length of time that it's taken without multiple bids.
Your motion is to hold it for 30 days, right?
I'm reconsidering the motion because I too am frustrated by how long this has been on our calendar and agenda.
Well, it sounds like we would have to pass another variance if we went with the one stormwater facility rather than multiples. Is that,
No,
Just-
they just got to mitigate it to 35.
Yeah.
That's it.
that's it?
That's it. And they've already got a variance for that. They
What
just need to
happens to the
stick
prior
with that.
variance if this one's denied?
You've already got that one, so I think this one would just die.
Does
Mr.
this
Johnson?
denial preclude the first one from still being alive? I guess was our concern.
So the question is if there's one existing, and how does this denial, I think they're taking independently from each other. I mean, they're separate requests, so they need to be taken individually.
Say again.
So if these are separate requests, right? And all
But
them,
they're not. They came in to get a pool, and they were told they needed some mitigation. They built the pool without the mitigation. We're here today about mitigation. They're very similar.
are these two different applications?
One was from '24, one's now.
Well, then they need to be taken separately. One, yes.
So the first one said mitigate to 35, we're going to keep that in place. This one we're denying. This 25 one we're denying. Is that clear?
If the clerk is clear with that, I think that you might just want to rephrase and restate the motion so that it's independent as from the 2024 request.
Okay. The initial request regarding this property can stand, which stipulates mitigation to 35%. The subsequent application for variance that we're dealing with right now for a request not to do the mitigation is denied.
Second motion on V35, and just point out that if the applicant, or if anybody has an issue that we need to address, we can always reconsider this next month. If there's any error regarding the assumption that one, you call it a dry well. I assume it's pretty wet when it rains, but one dry well can be substituted for three?
Yes.
That's fine.
Second. All right, please, your votes. Thank you. Variance is denied.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, next case on the agenda is variance case V49, Don Hagmeister. Request a variance to increase the maximum length of a breezeway connecting an accessory structure to a principal building from required 25 feet to 108 feet, and then lot 465 of the 16th district. The property is located on the southeast side of Marlanta Drive, north of Manor House Drive. Is the applicant present? And let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V49? Two. Let the record show there's two people opposed. All those who wish to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
Is he going to ask for one? Or? Oh. John, there's a possibility that this guy is here to ask for a delay till next month because the owner isn't here.
Okay.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Don Hagemaster, Totally Dependable Contracting.
Okay. All right. So let me interrupt you a moment because we didn't restate just for everyone to understand. Each person talking about this case has 10 minutes each. After that point in time, we will close the public hearing, and then if we have questions from the board, we will ask you to come back to the podium.
Okay. Give you a little background. My client Derek Boyd became overzealous after he had inherited this property and poured a lot of concrete that needs to be mitigated, which we proposed in this original permit plans that you've seen for the variance. He has 3 personal vehicles. He has a couple company vehicles that he has out there that over this time frame has been doing nothing but sitting out in those drive areas out in front of the house, behind the house, and beside the house. He's an individual contractor. He's a plumbing contractor. You know, and the thought is that he wants to take and build this large garage, large enough for him to take and have all of his vehicles inside of that garage and be able to work on them maintenance-wise. It's 2-story in the sense that there are times that he has some materials left over from jobs that he keeps on his site that would then go inside of that garage also. It's a large enough building to where he has it poured now is way beyond what he should be doing in the sense that he's outside of the building lines, very close to a drain setback back there, and it's so that has to be torn up and re-poured is kind of where we are with this thing. And in order to get this to where it's going to have enough room for 5 vehicles, it's fairly large, too large to just be separate without connecting it to the home, and that's why we're asking to get the breezeway variance to where it goes beyond 25 feet.
Okay, sorry, do you have anything further?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
done?
good. Yeah.
Take a seat and we'll hear from the opposition. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you. My wife and I, Gary and Barbara Rasmussen, we are adjacent property owners to this property. Don't know much about zoning requirements, but our contention is this gentleman is running a business out of his property. The house is located in a residential subdivision, and as you can tell from what he was talking about, he doesn't have another business site. He runs all of his operations out of there. We have pictures of construction equipment, front loaders, backhoes that he is parking on that property. And we just don't think that that's a business that should be in our neighborhood. And we're concerned about the implications on our property values, the neighbors' property values. We're also concerned that he did a lot of work earlier, significantly increased the amount of concrete in this backyard. And we have pictures of the property that we look at every day where he just pushed all the concrete from what he tore up and just pushed it to the back of our property line.
And other neighbors as well that are adjacent to the property.
So
There's also not just concrete, there's other construction debris, tires, pipes, et cetera. I have pictures.
Hand them to,
And a 2-story garage that is 1,600 square feet. Most of those homes on Marlanta are smaller homes. So for us to look at a 2-story garage, I don't know if it's going to be metal. There's also a creek that runs behind the property that's on our property, and he's just pushed all this debris towards the fence. It's not right. It's not vehicles, it is commercial equipment. Construction equipment. We have pictures of front loaders, backhoes, multiple pickup trucks, and trash.
Well, and our concern is that by allowing him to, quote, do maintenance in this garage, it's just going to increase the amount of business activity that he is performing in a residential subdivision. And it just doesn't seem like right to us that that's what's happening. We do respect somebody's right to do what they want with their property, But, you know, we have another adjacent property owner who came to me the other day and runs his business out of his property, and when this guy sees what he's gonna do, he's gonna wanna do the same thing on his property.
Can
Because,
you-
you know, he was already asking me about it.
And if you can take us through the pictures and explain what we're looking at, that would be helpful.
Oh, yeah, so this is the picture of the prior property, the debris from the concrete driveway that he tore up. And you can see he just pushed it to the back. That fence is on the back of our property line, adjacent between our property and his. Again, this is just more picture of the debris that, from the previous work that he did. And as my wife mentioned, you know, other construction debris that he's brought back to his property and just dumped in the back. Again, another picture of the debris, but you can also see in the back, I don't know if you can see here, but there is a piece of construction, yellow up here on the top, is a, what is that one? Yes, the top of the backhoe, right back up here. And again, here you can see again the front loader right here. Oh. That's all we have to say, really.
Okay.
Thank you.
If the applicant will come back forward. Where is Mr. Boyd today?
He had a family emergency. He's at hospital.
Okay, I thought you were going to ask for a continuance
I
today.
wanted to get some input from y'all before I did, is all. Just to kind of see where we were and if we needed to address anything in that continuance time. Maybe that wasn't the correct thing to do.
Well, we're hearing it now, so
Okay.
this is the
Well,
time.
I'm not sure what he would have to say at that point anyways with where they're at and what we're trying to get through here. I'm trying to clean his mess up is basically what I'm here for. And that's where I came into this. When I first became involved, he had done all this work and that's what's there now and had asked me to take and come in and take the project over. Well, at that point is when I found out that he had way too much concrete poured and he had not paid any attention. I don't think he believed that he needed to look at it, but he didn't look at a survey. So, you know, that slab is poured, it's way out of what it needs to be. That's why we've adjusted on the plans where it is. And a lot of that debris that's there is he's had some issues with county inspectors stopping by and asking him when he was gonna get a permit. Once again, that's where I came in and he's kind of left it alone at that point. He's trying to see what he needs to do.
He needs to get with code enforcement and stop avoiding them.
Okay,
Because they've been out multiple times, and he just ignores them. So he's aware there's a problem.
oh, I understand that, yes.
And you obviously can see the problem is quite a large magnitude. And he's clearly running a business out of his backyard, and that is absolutely not allowed. So all this stuff he's got back there, the trucks, the trailers, the Connex, the equipment for construction, all that's got to go immediately. And I vote to deny the garage he wants to build, and would be happy to hear any of our other commissioners' comments on the case.
I just have a question. In the back of this property, I don't know when this was taken, it just shows what one of the commissioners pointed out is a dumpster and a lot of other things. In the back of this property, are there other structures back here?
Originally, I believe he had a shed back there.
Is it removed?
It's been torn down.
Shed removed, okay.
You know, and And as I said, he kind of jumped the gun on a lot of this stuff. He's taken him, his thought process was he was going to put a pool in back there along with the garage, which caused him to put some retaining walls in. You know, luckily none of those are of anything of any height. But we're trying to work through that at this point and get dimensions of those so that we can try to get that taken care of and get that off the board.
So the only structure behind his house is just a shed?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how large that shed is?
I'm sorry, do I know what?
Approximately how large the shed is?
I do not right offhand. I know that at some point or another, he's done some work to this house, or his grandparents had, where he doesn't have a garage at all now. It's been transformed into finished space. And as far as I know, what's back there, it's not anything of any particular large size or anything. So it's not doing any good. I know he needs to take and get the site cleaned up.
So you can see what we're looking at, correct, on the screen?
Yes.
Can you kind of describe where this shed is located?
The existing shed now?
The existing shed, yes.
I don't remember that shed is still there. I'm not sure how. That structure's not there at this point.
It's not here. The structure is there, but it's not in this map.
No, what I'm saying is what it shows here, that kind of looks as though that was what was there originally before he poured that slab
Correct.
that's in there.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, that's not there now. Now the slab has taken its place. And, and I said, he's done a bunch of work around there that really should not have been done yet.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask him to sit and have the opposition for a question where the shed is?
Sure.
Thank you very
You bet.
much. Yes, could you come up, please? Mr. Rasmussen, could you please, thank you, could you please put up the picture, because I have a question of whose house we were looking at, and help us with determining, because through some code enforcement issues that he has been handed, there seems to be, there might be some multiple buildings back there. If you could help, since you have a visual of where that one shed is.
Well, this is one, you can see the back of the house.
This is the back of his house?
Yeah, that
Okay, thank you.
chimney, where you can see the chimney up there.
Yes.
So that is the back of the house, and I believe the,
I think it's on the left.
the shed is over here on this side, right past over here. And I was looking to see if any of these others had a picture of the shed on them, but I don't believe there was a picture of one with a shed on it, but there is a shed back there.
Do you know just approximately what the dimensions are and
You know, it's,
how close it is to the neighbor, since there's,
it's a shed that, I think it's like a pre-constructed shed, one that you would, buy
Right.
that's probably 10 by 12 or something like that. I don't think it's very large, but it is there, and it's in the, so if we're looking at it, you looking at the back of his house, it's in the right back corner of his property. You want to put the picture of the property, so it would be
On
sort
that,
of
to the left, that's the
in-
back of the
in
house.
this part back
Yes.
here, where this, right here, where
Yes.
that, he had at one time a container, one of those long metal containers that was back there, because he did do a lot, I mean, he's done a lot of work to the house. I mean, looks much better than it did. He's repainted, he's remodeled the house. I mean, from that aspect, I mean, it was an eyesore to the community, I mean, to the subdivision later, before he did all that. So he has done a lot of work back there, but, into the front of the house and into the interior of the house. But again, most of this stuff there is gone now, but the shed's back there.
Okay.
That's all I can say about that.
That's
But
great, thanks so much.
You would agree that a business is being run out of the backyard?
That's our opinion, yes.
Tell them the name of the business.
Well, the name of the business is Home Improvement Pros LLC.
That's his
And if you look it up on, in the state website, the business address is there
Oh,
at his home. That's his home, the only address for the business.
okay, that's helpful.
Okay.
So basically, you want him to be a good neighbor, you want him to get his backyard cleaned up and conduct activities in a residential manner back there, right?
Yes.
We want him to conduct, activities of a homeowner.
Yes.
And we're not opposed to the garage necessarily. If it was a garage for a residential,
Right.
and he was going to park his cars there and do that, I mean, we're not opposed to that. We're opposed to the fact that he's running a business out of there.
Right, and this garage would help propel his business.
Right.
So,
So, our concern would be there would be more equipment back there because it's
And more
broken
people.
down.
More
Needs to
people.
be repaired.
right,
And, we would end up more things back there, right?
And more
Okay.
trash.
anything further?
Thank you. I have a question for the applicant. So maybe speaking to maybe some of what we see in the yard and speaking to the size of the garage you're asking for, how could we obtain a comfort level that the garage, if built, would be to accommodate things typically kept at a residence?
Well, I'm not sure that there's any way to give you a comfort level that if you already have doubts about that I can change those doubts in any way. I mean, there are a lot of contractors that run their business out of their house. It's just it's a matter of whether you have employees there, whether you're trying to store, not necessarily equipment, but for the most part, materials. Obviously, trash is a big issue at this point, but I think, once the project was finished, the trash would be gone and obviously be gone before then because there's a lot more that's going to get generated at this point. There's probably $35,000, $40,000 worth of concrete that's got to get torn out of there and hauled away.
Is that part of what you've been hired to do?
I'm sorry?
Is that part of what you have been hired to do?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all the questions I had of him. And my comment would just be possibly if we allowed a garage for residential purposes only and restricted the size and maybe located it in a place where it would actually deter the use of the backyard, that the neighbors might be better served, but I'll leave that to the member from this district.
Okay.
If I may, there's not really any place on the property that the garage would not be in that backyard. It sits very close to the sideline. The driveway goes beside the house. And as I said, he would like to put a pool in the backyard, which drives the idea of having a garage. It would have to be driven further back onto the property, which is kind of how we positioned it now, in the sense that we're very close to both, and with it being an odd-shaped property, as far as the setbacks go, we've skewed it a little bit now and gotten it to where it fits back and it's inside of those parameters. If the size of the garage is a deterrent as to whether we get this or not, I don't see an issue that I'm sure he would compromise some in the sense of what the size of it is. But, once again, he has personal vehicles and he has business vehicles, and there'll be times that his business vehicles are there that really need to be in the garage.
All right, anything further from the board? All right, regarding V49, I move to deny it.
Second.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Please place your votes. Variance is
All right.
denied.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a good afternoon.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
All right, folks, we have our housekeeping as normal.
No, there's one more.
One more? I thought, oh, that's the amendment, sorry. I'm looking right at it, too. Okay. Kim,
Do you want to call them
do we have,
up? Okay.
do we have anybody? I don't see anybody else.
Is it,
Is that-
you talked
Yeah.
to Mr.
And-
Peterson?
And let me read it into the
Mr.
record first.
Peterson will read it.
Okay, this next item is to amend something that was previously approved. It relates to variance of V35 of 2025. Section 17.02 of the Board of Zoning Appeals Hearing Procedures, adopted January 11th, 1994, and last revised December 15th, 2021, allows the Board of Zoning Appeals to amend the text of an action taken at a previous hearing. This item would be to amend the motion by the Board of Zoning Appeals for variance case V35 of 2025, as listed in the official minutes on the March 12th, 2025 meeting. The stipulation that needs to be amended in the motion would help perfect the motion. And currently, the motion reads, or the stipulation reads, it's subject to stormwater management comments. Staff would suggest amending that to read, stormwater management comments, comma, not to apply to this pool, comma, but anything else that requires a permit in the future, period. And at this point, I would hand it back to the board for discussion.
Do we have a representative?
I'm,
Is there anyone here representing this case? No.
okay, then I'd like to make a motion, 2 motions, please. The first motion is to amend a previously adopted approval of V35 from the March 12th, 2025 BZA variance hearing with the following change to stipulation. 1, the addition of stipulation number 2, stormwater management comments, comma, not to apply to this pool, comma, but anything else that requires a permit in the future. So we need to make a motion to vote on that, and then I have another motion to be made. Do I put it together or do
Prefer them to be separately
separate? So
taken.
that's the first motion.
All right,
Second your motion.
yeah. Please vote. Motion approved.
The second motion is that any permanent structure, sidewalks, deck, pad for the pool equipment will need to come in for a variance prior to building such structure to mitigate the impervious down to 35%. And number 3, the pool to be removed 5 years from today's date.
Do I have a second?
Vote for that.
Second.
Board, before we move on this, before there's a vote, just want to clarify with the clerk, there was a motion to amend something previously adopted from March. The second motion is changing the language of the stipulations. That's what's needed for the record, I believe. And so we just want to clarify that as we're amending,
Okay.
as we're amending this from March.
Right.
And then there is the changing of the language of the stipulation to add the provision for the
Correct.
pool.
Correct.
So
We good?
We're good?
We have a second for that?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Yes, approved. Good. You got all the house, all that taken care of?
Oh, let's see the vote.
I can't do everything. Did I vote? I pushed the button.
Oh. Okay. Sorry. Now we need to do housekeeping. First item is a modification. This modifies the minutes of the variance hearing, right, Mr. Johnson? This is the addition to the meeting from last month. Motion to approve the minutes from March 12th.
for that, as revised, yes. As revised.
Motion to approve minutes as revised.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
Third.
Okay, that's approved. Now we can approve the minutes as written that you handed out.
Well, motion to approve minutes of the March 31, 2025 1:30 PM work session.
Yeah, that was my next one. All right,
Second.
second. Approve. All right, that's taken care of. Is there any other matter that we need to cover? All right, do I have a motion for adjournment, please?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all right, vote. All right, we're adjourned. Alice, your voting button's not working.